So looking forward to it. Okay, that's fine. Can you hear me well?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Over to Sita Lakshmi, madam.
Yes, sir. So in couple of minutes, we will start, sir. Now it's 9:58. So by 10 sharp, we will start.
Okay. How much time do I have? Sorry.
So for you, actually, 15 more minutes, ma'am.
15 to start or for the whole
Yes.
station? I mean, for the presentation, Dr. Isabel asked me. Yeah.
So, Dr. Bala, sir, how are you, sir?
Oh, yes, I'm doing fine. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm constantly watching you in, Facebook, wherever, whatever country you go, I follow you.
Okay.
Yeah. And Dr. Balakrishnan, sir, we have Dr. Isabella Franco. She's from Australia, Institute of Better Futures. She's the CEO. And she's also, partnering with us in terms of publication. She have a Springer book series also. Okay, so we'll be grateful to Dr. Isbael Franco. Next year, probably she will be physically coming and collaborating here in VIT-AP University. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
miss the conference this year. But
Yes, yes.
as I didn't mention before, the idea is after the conference, we can come up with a conference proceedings to be published in Springer. So the idea is
Yes,
to come
yes,
up with
yes.
a book, and hopefully we can get contributions from all of you. So looking forward to reading your contributions and yeah, coming up with a book. Usually, I mean, the process for the publication process is like around a year or so. So we can expect the book around this time next year, if that's the case. And then if we have another conference next year, we'll do the same, likewise. And
Okay.
and
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you.
yeah.
So can we start?
Yeah, yeah. Over to you, Dr. Mas. Yes.
Okay, yeah, thank you, sir. A very warm welcome to all of you. A very good morning and very warm welcome to all of you. We are privileged to have esteemed guests with us, Dr. Balakrishnan Muniappan and Dr. Isabel Franco. Welcome to our session. And thank you, sir, thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation and willing to share your insights with us. I first invite Dr. Balakrishna Muniappan, who is a specialist in HRM and employment law. He was conferred the Best Professor in HRM Award at World Education Conference, Asia's Educational Excellence Award to Singapore, and the World HRD Conference 2017 in Mumbai. He is also visiting professor in HRM, and he has served as an external examiner for PhD thesis in HRM for several universities within Asia, Africa, and Europe. With his immense background and experience in HRM and publications, reputed journals, I am sure that this session will be highly insightful for us. Thank you, sir. Once again, over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Mas. And I would also like to thank the organizer, the VIT-AP School of Business, specifically Professor Dr. Arun Kumar, for the invitation for me to speak at this conference. Let me share my slide. The presentation time that is given to me is 15 minutes. So within the 15 minutes, I will try to provide to the participants who are attending this conference the essence of sustainable HRM, human resource management practices in a digital era. Okay, let's move into the objective and outcome of the session. So within 15 minutes, by the end of the 15 minutes of my talk, it is expected that the participants will be able to learn and reflect on the impact of changing environment and challenges of sustainable HRM practices in the digital era. Now, let's move into some of the core concepts that we will be looking at in this presentation. We are all aware, we all know that at the present moment, we live in a world that is a digital world. Okay, digital world have enabled us to communicate. I am speaking to you from Malaysia, from Penang, Malaysia, and we have participants who are also attending this conference from all parts of the world, not only in India. So how are we communicating? How are we connecting? It is due to the world that we live today, in a technological world or a digital world. And the world that we live today is also called the VUCA world. We also live in the VUCA world apart from being in the digital world. So what do we mean by VUCA? I'm sure if you do a search, you will find a lot of research, a lot of things about VUCA that has been written and also researched. So VUCA simply means we are in a world that is volatile, that is uncertain, that are complex, and also ambiguous. So participants, to know more about the impact of VUCA in all disciplines, you can do some search about VUCA. In many journal articles that has been written related to the impact of VUCA to HRM, to finance, to marketing, to operation, and many more field of studies. Now, we know that we are in a VUCA world. We know that we are in a digital world. So what is the impact to organizations, to companies, to industries? How they should deal with it. This is what we're going to look at. This is what I'm going to explore within the next 12 minutes. If the organization, not only organization, in fact, even you, all of you, all the participants, if you want to remain where you are, you feel happy with your position now, with your whatever things that you are doing now, you are very comfortable, you feel safe. Let me tell you, it will be very difficult if you want to look at it in next 5 to 10 years. You don't have to wait for next 5 to 10 years, even next 1, 2 to even 3 years. We see almost every day throughout the world, many things are changing. So it is about time companies as well as individuals, they need to overcome that fear zone which is in their mind. For individuals, it is in their mind. For companies, it is in their leadership. They need to move towards a learning zone. All of you, I'm sure, you are attending these conferences, all these conferences that you are attending, you are in a learning zone. You need to move into a learning zone in order to grow. Organization grows, individual also grows. Now, coming into sustainability, since my topic, I'm going to look into HRM, sustainability in a digital era. When you hear the word sustainability, the triple bottom line, looking into the 3 P's, people, planet, and profit. You will come across these 3 P's. Now, what is sustainability? Well, as far as the literature is concerned, there are abundance of articles, journal articles, research papers, that has been written about sustainability from various perspectives, not only HR. I'm just taking HR here from the perspective of sustainability. But sustainability, let me tell you, is a multidisciplinary field. Multidisciplinary is not only within the field of management. Even if you take the field of management, it is also multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary. You have a blend of psychology, social psychology, anthropology, political science, economics, finance, everything is there in the management. Even if you take sustainability, even more. Yeah, areas related to technology, science, and many other fields, disciplines also contributes to sustainability. So in a nutshell, when you say sustainability, it is all about fulfilling the needs of current generation without compromising the need of future generation to ensure balance between the economic growth, environmental care, and social well-being. So when we are looking at sustainability from the HR perspective, it is about how HRM in the organization. See, HRM also undergoes so many changes. Roles of HRM in the organization also have changed, not only like what Dave Ulrich have mentioned about more than 20 years ago, HRM role as a strategic business partner, employee champion, change agent, administrative expert, but now HRM also plays a role about how you can, promote sustainability. Okay, so all the core HRM processes within the organization must be brought into play to support the sustainable strategy. So when you say HRM processes or activity, it includes like how do we attract talent, how do we develop talent, how do we pay or even reward the talent, how do we retain talent, as well as the managerial support and communication, organizational culture, all this must be aligned towards sustainability, support of the sustainability. So looking into how organization can leverage digital technology to foster sustainability, I have many here, but for this presentation, let me give you maybe 4, and I can just summarize it into 4 areas. The first one first one that I would like to speak is about digitalization of the HR processes. The HR process has also gone through many changes. Now with the human resource information system, a lot of changes have taken place. So when we say digitalization of HR processes, it is the integration of the digital technologies like AI. I'm sure you are very familiar now with AI. There are many AI tools that are available in management today. It's not only about the artificial intelligence or AI, the big data analytics, automation into HR. It needs to be integrated into HR to offer enhance efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency. When you say efficiency means you are doing things right. Effectiveness means doing the right things. Sustainable HR practices can leverage these tools to streamline, like when you do like HR functions like recruitment, selection, training, performance management, employee engagement, and many more. That's number 1. Number 2 is that when we talk about sustainable HR practices in a digital era, you need to look at the world, the way work is done. Work and work requirement, job and job requirement also keeps changing. Today we are in an environment where we call the workforce. Today, maybe some of you, if you do a search, you will find the term agile workforce. Agile workforce means this era is not the era of a traditional work that we used to go and do in an organization where we need to clock in at 9 and then we come back at 5. Well, I'm not saying that we are not doing it. We are still, many organizations are still doing it 9 to 5 work, but the nature of the work have changed. I'm sure you know that during the time of COVID, many organizations have experimented flexible or even work from home, remote work. With technology, it is made possible. So agile workforce management in the digital era, you need to understand that the traditional notions of work is changing, leading to a rise of remote work, gig economy platforms. There are many. Malaysia, I can tell you examples from Malaysia, many. Even in India, you have so many where in terms of, not only in terms of transportation, in terms of food, many of people who are working, they are the gig economic, they're working in this type of environment, and also flexible working arrangement that are valuable in many organizations. So sustainable HR practices must embrace agile workforce management strategies to prioritize employee well-being, diversity, inclusion, and so on. That's number 2. Number 3, you need to look at the other part. When we are looking at technology, there are also, technology can be seen from the positive angle and a negative angle. Of course, I'm not going to go into that in depth, but the one particular thing that is being concerned, that is considered to be a major concern, is the data governance, ethical data governance, the data governance. Because with the proliferation of data-driven HRM practices, organizations also face ethical consideration regarding data privacy, security, and transparency. So sustainable HR practices must uphold the ethical principles in data governance, ensuring responsible collection, use, and protection of employee data while safeguarding individuals' rights and promoting trust amongst the stakeholders. And the last one, number 4, on the sustainable HR practices in a digital era, is that the need for organization and also the individual to continuously upskill themselves. That is the lifelong learnings and skills development, because a digital transformation needs people to always update, upskills. You can't be happy with where you are. Just like in the earlier slide that I have shown, being in a comfort zone, you must always be willing to learn new things. You must be able to unlearn, learn, and relearn. Unlearn. Sometimes certain things that we have used to do in the past, we need to unlearn in order to learn and relearn. So that's why sustainable HR practices must prioritize lifelong learning initiatives that empower employees to acquire new skills, foster innovation, and drive organizational agility, thereby enhancing long-term competitiveness and sustainability. And in conclusion, okay, because limited time, I cannot talk too much. So I just want to conclude here. Sustainable HR practices in a digital era require holistic approach that integrates, the most important thing, the integrating technological innovation with ethical consideration, by also taking into consideration of the stakeholder engagement with a long-term value creation. So by embracing these principles, organizations can cultivate a resilient, adaptive workforce capable of driving sustainable growth and societal impact in increasing the world today that is called interconnected world that we live today, that is digital, and a world today that is considered to be the VUCA world. All right. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope I have done it within the given time of 15 minutes. Thank you to everyone. And thank you once again to Professor Arun Kumar and also VIT-AP School of Business for the invitation. All right. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Mas.
Thank you, sir. And that was quite insightful for us, understanding. Thank you for enlightening us on VUCA and linking it with sustainability and in the digital era. Thank you so much, sir. And now I request, now we have another guest with us, Isabel.
Thank you, Dr. Bala sir. Thank you. I met Bala sir in Malaysia and also in Bangkok. He's worldwide. In US conference also, he given a speech. He's a great man. He comes to IIT in India. And he also, Melbourne University was a prominent member. And also next year he is going to join in Birmingham, UK. So that's the greatness of Balakrishnan Muniappan. Over to you, Dr. Mas. You can continue this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now we have our next guest, Isabel Franco. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us all the way. I request Dr. Sita Lakshmi to introduce Isabel Franco.
Good morning, everyone. So I am so happy to introduce Isabel B. Franco. So she is a game-changing creator of IBF, International Institute for Better Future. She co-creates the solutions with a global community of 2,000 plus associates across 25 countries to equip the organizations and generate a measurable, sustainable impact. So her work has contributed to evidence-based decision-making at international multilingual projects valued over 30 billion US. Her contributions have been featured in the UN Asia Pacific Forum on the Sustainable Development, the World Mining Congress, the OECD Forum on Responsible Business Conduct, the United Nations High-Level Political Forum, and the United Nations RCE Global Conference. We are very happy in welcoming you, ma'am. Now the forum is yours.
And Dr. Sita Lakshmi, before Dr. Isbael starts the session, I would like to compliment the greatness of Dr. Isabel Franco. Within short notice period of time, she accepted our invitation. She collaborated with us. And the most important thing is very kind-hearted personality. Okay, and she is very, accommodating all our requests and making our conference great. Thank you, Dr. Isabel Franco, for your wonderful support you extended towards our international conference. Over to you.
Thank you so much for the invite once again. Dear ladies and gentlemen, greetings from Australia. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to you for this esteemed opportunity to serve as a keynote speaker for this conference, Innovation and Sustainable Business Practices in the Digital Era. It is an honor to share insights and engage with the vibrant academic community at the Vellore Institute of Technology. My special thanks to Dr. Arun Kumar. Thank you so much. Dr. Sita Lakshmi, thank you for your kind support and ongoing collaboration. And I'm so looking forward to future collaborations as well. At IBF, we understand that sustainable business practices are not merely an option, but a necessity for the survival and advancement of our societies. In today's interconnected world, the decisions we make as business leaders have far-reaching implications impacting not only our bottom line, but also the well-being of future generations and the health of our planet. Our work at IBF is centered around empowering business to embrace sustainability as a core value, integrating environmental, social, and governance principles into their operations and decision-making processes. Through our educational initiatives, advisory, research, and collaborative partnerships like this conference, for example, we strive to equip business leaders with the knowledge, tools, and resources they need to drive positive change and create better futures. As we engage in dialogue and exchange ideas during this conference, let us seize the opportunity to catalyze change in India and elsewhere, challenge the status quo, and pave the way for a more sustainable and equitable world. Together, we can build a better future where businesses thrive in harmony with nature, where prosperity is shared by all, and where generations to come inherit a planet that is vibrant, resilient, and thriving. Thank you for your attention, and now I'll be sharing a few slides with you about a piece of work that we did together in collaboration with the United Nations a while ago. So let me know if you can see my screen. Share screen. Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am. We can see you.
Oh. So this is a bit of the outline that I'm presenting today. I'll talk a little bit about what Dr. Sita Lakshmi mentioned before, the Innovation Board for Better Future, which is basically a dynamic collective that works towards sustainable solutions for businesses, governments, and civil society organizations. I'll talk a bit about IBF and a model for a sustainable future that we did in collaboration. I did myself in collaboration with the United Nations, particularly on the Asia-Pacific case. There is a book that I would like to present, and hopefully this is an invitation for all presenters on this conference. As part of the conference proceedings, we have a book, right? So we are welcome invitations and we'll have a call for proposals for book chapters for a Springer book. Hopefully next year it will be published at this time. And finally, we have a Q&A if you have any questions, closing remarks, but I think that's will be managed by Dr. Setalashmi or Dr. Mas as well, okay? At IBF, we work with a collective, as Dr. Setalashmi said before. We have collaborated with Dr. Setalashmi and other people, other collaborators in India and other academic institutions. We work across various areas such as energy, renewables, private sector, agriculture, extractives, government, international development, and research development. As you can see on the map, we work across regions and across countries. We have done work pretty much all over the world, all continents. I myself have lived in a few 4 continents so far. So I know very well the reality at the local level, but also I have a vast understanding of what's happening in terms of global economics and governance. Make sure. We work across specific areas such as corporate sustainability, monitoring and impact assessment, responsible business, climate change, sustainable development and governance and public policy. So our portfolio is quite vast. One of the things that actually we do at IBF, and we do it very well, has to do with global engagement. And a proof of this is, for example, this conference. We engage and collaborate, and we serve also as a driver and as a catalyzer between institutions. We have recently we presented at the Women's Sustainability Forum, where we actually presented our latest book, I'll present later, on gender and sustainable development. And we have a network of women's sustainability all over the world. So we operate across quite a few countries. Our value proposition, we are not only a consulting but also firm, but also a think tank. So that's why we have that value that we can actually provide not only to academic institutions, but also to businesses. We work with community-based outputs and also scientific-based outputs. All our advisory, corporate advisory work is grounded on scientific research. And this is the case study that I would like to present today. This is a model for a sustainable future that I did myself in collaboration with the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia Pacific, ESCAP. This is the output. If that's available online, whoever would like to have a look, or you can send me an email. I'm happy to provide you a link and a copy of the book if you're interested. So this is the final output. In this piece of work, we had a data of 200 companies aligned with the Global Compact. The Global Compact is a set of principles that the United Nations has established for companies operating all over the world. So the principles vary across areas on human rights, environment, social governance, and so on. Yeah. So from this database, the database actually was facilitated by the United Nations, ESCAP. And in the database, we had a group of 200 companies. We did some research in high-income countries, middle-income, and low-income countries. So it was 3 countries. And what we found is that only 3% of the companies in high-income countries, for example, fully aligned with the Global Compact, which is a disclosure reporting mechanism on corporate sustainability. In the middle-income country, and I don't want to give names due to political reasons, but in the middle-income case, we found that none of the companies' research actually reported their sustainable their practices according to the Global Compact mandates. And in the low-income country, only 11% of companies actually reported disclosed fully their practices on corporate sustainability. So you can see these percentages are quite discouraging. So we found straight away that there's a lot of work that needs to be done on sustainable business and corporate sustainability as such. We also found in focus groups that we did with members of some of these corporations, and also some interviews that we did assign some desktop research and literature review, that there is a lack of corporate acknowledgement about sustainable practices, and that's why we came up with those low percentages in terms of corporate sustainability disclosure. Also, there is a poor implementation of sustainable practices, sustainable business practices, and consumers are more aware of what sustainability means. So consumers are opting for environmental and social responsible products. So that makes a difference, for example, when it comes to consumer choice. Businesses and consumers believe that governments have a primary responsibility to achieve sustainability, but they are not aware that there are mandates, like, for example, the United Nations Global Compact and other mandates that actually help businesses achieve corporate sustainability practices in operations and outside the business. And we also found the business lacked specific objectives and tools to achieve sustainability. So this was a key issue. And we actually, with colleagues at the United Nations, we wanted to target the last bit. We said, okay, these companies need a model or a tool that they can follow, that they can actually apply to their operations, and they can actually structure what corporate sustainability means. So in response to this, we came up with something that we call the business model for a sustainable future. The model looks somehow like this. It has 3 components: principles, practices, and enablers. And the idea is that the mix of these 3 components can result on a sustainable business ecosystem. So in terms of principles, for example, we have in the literature, and then our colleague before, he mentioned some of them: corporate governance, corporate social responsibility, corporate sustainability. There's some practices nowadays, like corporate philanthropy, social responsible investment, social enterprise, that help companies drive that social environmental domain, and different enablers that I'll present later. So these are, in terms of practices, these are, and according to our research and the work that we did, these are some of the practices that some companies, research in Asia Pacific, are applying. So being corporate philanthropy, they have been corporate philanthropy, the one with the lesser impact, positive impact, because these companies takes corporate sustainability as philanthropy, as donations, right? Which is not quite the concept, right? Then a second approach, a second practice, that they implement is social responsible investment. That is a more structured practice. And usually they work in partnership with small businesses or providers as well to work on this. And another practice that they are applying is a social enterprise, which is basically investing in other companies with a more social and environmental output. So it goes from the lesser positive impact to the greater positive impact of these practices. In terms of enablers, we found in our research and the work we did with these companies that there are a few enablers that help these companies to move from theory to practice and to apply corporate sustainability to put in action, such as technology, innovation, interconnectivity, metrics, that's very important, stakeholder engagement, and government support. Very important, we identify the stakeholders within and out the organization. Who are the key players when, for example, implementing a model for a sustainable future? Okay, so we have the one hand, we have suppliers, as I said before, internal stakeholders like employees themselves, clients and shareholders, and society and environment as such, okay? The benefits, as you can see in the table, we recognize the benefits according to the stakeholders, but there are quite a few. I just mentioned some in terms of revenue growth, because some of the concern that we found on these companies is that, well, being being sustainable is not profitable, which is not true. For suppliers, it helps suppliers identify opportunities for new business developments. For internal stakeholders, improves the competitiveness and business. For clients and shareholders, for example, it helps develop new products and services, and actually they become more competitive compared to other providers. And for society and the environment, obviously, there is a boost in terms of for the local economy and growth. If you consult, as I said before, you can send me an email. I'm happy to share the findings of this work, and where you can find actually a more extended version of the stakeholders and the benefits for each one of these groups. This is a summary of some of the corporate benefits that actually these companies get when applying the approach, the model for a sustainable, the business model for a sustainable future, and when taking corporate sustainability seriously. Brand differentiation, okay, in comparison to other companies who are mainly profit focused. Customer engagement, as I said before, consumer choice now is becoming a rule now in this globalized world. They are choosing more environmentally and socially responsible products. Employee engagement, there are some employees nowadays, especially like the youngest generations, they prefer to work for environmentally and socially responsible and friendly organizations. Risk reduction, and we did that. I do a lot of work in terms of sustainable impact assessment, and I've seen that this is key. The way that embracing sustainability actually and take it seriously can help reduce risk and mitigate risk in the long term. Cost reduction, innovation, particularly in terms of products and services, positive risk culture, value creation. This is key, not only for the company, but also for stakeholders the company works with, and competitive advantage. So corporate sustainability as such is more a competitive advantage from an organizational point of view. Recommendations out of this piece of work. First of all, we encourage those companies that we research, we encourage those companies to market innovative products and services that not only support profit, but also support more inclusive and sustainable development as such, particularly at the local level. In terms of corporate governance, we obviously recommend the integration not only of this model. I mean, they can incorporate this model into their operations in corporate governance, but there are also a few models around. The OECD, for example, they have their own model. Like every organization has come up with a model for corporate governance, and they can adopt these models to create greater social environmental value and also to measure that impact. Multi-stakeholder engagement. Once this model or any other model to corporate sustainability has been incorporated, it is to encourage business partners, including suppliers and subcontractors, to conduct sustainable business practices. In terms of corporate disclosure, that's very important to keep organizations accountable. As I said before, just only a few companies, a very small percentage of companies reported fully on corporate sustainability, but the idea is to adopt a basic standard for disclosure of corporate practice. Same as models, in terms of corporate disclosure, you will find a myriad of mechanisms like GRI and UN Global Compact. OECD has also some guidelines for responsible business, so there are quite a few. And volunteering guidelines, developing corporate policies that the board and directors can endorse, okay? So this is very important. What we have seen is that if the leadership doesn't take corporate sustainability seriously, there's not much work that can happen at the operational level. And obviously, in terms of, shareholders, and stakeholders. So once the leadership takes this seriously, that's when actually the change happens. And this is a book that we have released. We're about to publish this month. Is our latest book, Gender Aspects of Climate Change and Sustainable Development, a global overview. So there are quite a few practices around gender and sustainability, cases from Asia Pacific, Africa, and Latin America. So you are welcome to get a copy of the book on Springer website. As I said before, I'm so looking forward to everyone's contributions for our upcoming conference proceedings. It's going to be a Springer book as well. So hopefully next year we have a similar book as this one I'm launching today. And that's pretty much I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much. Any questions about the piece of work that we did in collaboration with the United Nations or the book itself, please let me know. Happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Participants, any question you can pose in, Dr. Mas?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Now the session is over. The forum is open for any questions. Any participants, if you have any questions related to IBF?
The topic which she delivers, if you got any doubts, please ask them. Everyone is clear about the things? Okay. So my question to Dr. Isabel is that, what is the, countries like India, developing countries like India and China, a lot of, production is happening, and very less concern was shown towards sustainability, right? In terms of production wastage is, getting discharged in the environment. And also, a lot of places, especially in Australia also, there is a depletion in ozone layer because of the emission of freon gas, and a lot of deforestation practices is going on. A lot of encouragement is required for afforestation. All these concern. What is your straight tips towards the corporates? What we should do, tell me.
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's a very interesting question, and I think that I think some of the colleagues they mentioned that before, but the premise of sustainability and sustainable development is basically meeting the needs of current generations without compromising, the needs of future generations. And also, if we are deploying or using a resource like natural resources, for example, we need to give back to the environment and the community similar or better, better resourcing in a different way. Say, for example, if we are employing natural resources, we have to give back education, right? But it has to be the same amount of resource that is being employed. For example, in terms of natural resources, we can give that back in terms of like infrastructure, for example, for education, health systems, social tissue, funding that actually help the community and the environment develop in five forms of capital. I did some work a while ago about the 5 capital approach, and that works very well. So there are 5 forms of capital: natural, social, human, physical, and financial. So, and we did the comparison with the mining sector, right? The mining sector uses a lot of, natural resources. And the way that they can give back the resources, for example, implementing educational programs at the community level, right? Or providing investment or a local funding to strengthen the local tissue, for example, in conflict zones, right? Or strengthening institutional governance at the government level. So In that way, they compensate the extraction of resources, right? It could be through health, it could be through infrastructure, such financial, like for example, in credits, investment for local businesses and providers, right? So there are various ways, and actually, countries as large as India and China, you said that, you know, can employ quite a few natural resources, can give back to the environment and the community. And some of they do. Like I've seen the cases of a few companies operating in those countries, and they do that, right? In Australia, for example, Australia is a mining country in itself, right? And there are many companies, Australian companies operating elsewhere, for example, in Africa, Latin America. The best way that they can do, and there are some companies that they have done so, right? They operate in other countries, but they give back to the community. They have a corporate social responsibility agenda, and they somehow try to meet the needs at the local level, wherever they go. So there's a way to compensate the structure of natural resources, I feel that. But there is a lot of work to do as well. How to measure, for example, that compensation, right? How to measure the impact, the risk that those companies are causing, for example, not only their home countries, but elsewhere. And that's where we need to work in collaboration with academics, with consulting organizations, and with different stakeholders. Provide these organizations with tools that help them measure their impact, and also to provide them with guidance, like the model that I provided before. Some of them are not aware that there are metrics and models that they can apply to achieve sustainable business practices at the operational level, and also outside broadly in the community and the environment.
Fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Isbael, for your insightful and comprehensive answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Over
for the
to Dr. Mas. Yeah, thank you so much. Dr. Mas, over to you.
Yes, sir. I'm available over here.
Okay.
So I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Dr. Balakrishnan Muniappan, Associate Professor, Malaysia, Wawasan University, Malaysia, and our great keynote speaker, Dr. Isabel B. Franco, Executive Director, International Institute for Better Future, Australia. So thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for your insights for our audience. Thank you so much. And I would like to extend my gratitude to Isabel Franco, ma'am, for the collaboration that we had. And we are looking forward for the Springer book as well. So thank you so much for the collaboration. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you all.
Dr. Isbael. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
And I request all the participants for the tea break, and those who have the offline session, please join in AB1 first floor, Ainston Hall, for the presentation sharp by 11 a.m. And those who have the online presentation, please join in the Google Meet link, which we have provided. Thank you so much.
And also for the validatory function, 2 to 3, you can join through, YouTube Live will be available. Everyone who are virtually present, please join us. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Isbael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Mas.
Ma'am, am I audible to you? Just a minute.
Hello, Dr. Mas. Hello. Hello, Dr. Mas.